At james.crid.land, I'm James Cridland, the radio futurologist. This week, can a smart speaker replace a kitchen radio? For various reasons, and relatively complicated, I've had to change my kitchen radio away from being a radio and into being a Google Home mini speaker. It was either that or getting a new plug socket. And this has been interesting because instead of the 60-odd stations available to me on DAB Plus in Brisbane, I now probably have 100,000 radio stations to choose from and many more podcasts as well. My listening habits have changed, but not in the way you think. Because I'm still listening to my local public radio station, ABC Radio Brisbane, given it's got decent local news and I recognise the voices on there. I ask, hey Google, listen to ABC Radio Brisbane, and it responds that it's playing
612 ABC Brisbane from iHeartRadio on Kitchen Mini.
Which really ought to be 612 ABC Brisbane, except this branding was dropped 20 months ago. It does work though. But I'm also listening much more to my local community radio station, 4ZZZ, and this station doesn't broadcast on DAB Plus here in Brisbane, and so I listen very rarely to it. And being on the level playing field of the internet, however, I'm remembering to ask for it rather more often. Listen to 4ZZZ is the strange incantation that I have to use. The station's branding of 4ZZZ, of course, doesn't work. I'm also listening to on-demand news, which I might point out can now include Pod News, Podcasting News, my daily news service on both Google and Alexa speakers. But no, I'm not listening to any overseas radio. Actually, few people ever do, says the research. There's no doubt that smart speakers are being used more than ever to listen to the radio, and that's good news for the industry. I've certainly discovered that it's a very viable replacement for a kitchen radio. But it's been interesting how it's changed my radio habits too, rediscovering a radio station on an inconvenient waveband and hearing a bit more on-demand content as well. Checking how your station is presented on these speakers is probably a good idea. I'm not of the option that you need a skill, necessarily, but you certainly need to ensure that the service works as you expect, and with the spoken brand you're using on air. Both a Google Home Mini and an Amazon Echo Dot are very cheap to buy, and you probably ought to. You can get my weekly newsletter at james.crid.land and daily podcast news at podnews.net. And until next time, keep listening.